Hello, everyone. Hopefully, you guys can see me. I hope. Um, Hi. How's it going? This I'm using the whole new Facebook interface right now, and I don't know how it's working or why it's working or whether it's working. Um, but it's a little early still, so I'm gonna let people take their time coming on. Oh, I'm trying to get all my stuff together here. Um, I don't even see where I would see hearts or anything if you guys are here. So here I'm gonna just write here. Say hi if you're on. Um so I've just left a comment. How you doing? Um if you guys are hopping on, this is our light hour. Uh Grab a beverage if you're on. Your beverage can be a cup of hot tea. I don't know if you can see the steam. You see the steam? Oh, there's Joseph. Hi, Joseph. So get your cup of hot tea. And I've been saying every week that you'll be able to tell what my state of mind is every week. So you normally have a glass of wine. Today I have a cocktail. It's not a tiny cocktail. It's a Paloma. Um, for those of you who don't know Palomas, I'm about to rock your world. Mm, it is tequila and grapefruit soda. San Pellegrino makes a wonderful grapefruit soda. So that and a shot of tequila, or not, maybe not a whole shot. I have no idea how much I put in here, but um, it's delicious. It's like a margarita's older sister. Um, so there you go. So I'm hoping you guys are here. I hate that I can't see this. Joseph, if you can see me, can you like do a heart or something and see if I can see that? Because I have no idea what I can see here, or I don't know. Um, or leave a comment if you can, Joseph, and let me know because I can't see, unfortunately, with this new interstate face who's watching and who's not. So leave comments, and so I can see that you're there. Okay. Those of you who don't know me, my name is Karen Walrond. I am a leadership coach and author. I am the blogger behind Chookalunks at chookalunks.com, and also the voice on the Make Light Show, the podcast that talks about infusing your life with purpose and meaning. And hey, Jessica, thank you for doing that. Ooh, there's some people. Marilee, hi, nice to see you guys. Thank you guys for doing that. Yeah, for some reason, normally on the other interface, you can see hearts and things as they go by while you're talking, and this interface, you can't. And I'm not really digging that because I like being able to see you. So feel free to leave a bunch. Oh, Joseph just said he sent a bouquet's worth of hearts. Thank you. I can't see them. I don't know why they don't show them here. Anyway, so I am all about making light and making joy and bringing joy and doing all of that. And in this time of horribleness, it's important that we look for light. And so every Friday now, I've been popping on for Light Hour, where you can have your either alcoholic beverage or your tea or unalcoholic beverage, whatever your pleasure is. So if you are sober, I salute you. And if you are not, I salute you. So and you can always tell what my state of mind is depending on which drink I grab most of. And this has been a hard week. How are you guys doing? I hope you guys holding up? I actually found this week probably my hardest week. We're in, I don't know, I don't know what week we're in anymore. I barely even knew it was Friday today, but this was a tough week for me, for no particular reasons other than it's just tough. So I hope you're hanging in there. I hope you're taking care of yourself. Usually on these things, I check in. If you guys, hi Shireen, if you guys have any questions or anything, I'm happy to answer them. Today, I'm going to share some good news. I'm going to share one of my biggest tools for self-care, answer a couple questions. The first one, Emily Meadows asked me to talk about why rum punch tastes better every day after you've made it. So if you joined me last week, I shared my recipe for rum punch. I will link to it again at the end of this, but it's Trinidadian rum punch. And she's right, it does taste better every day. I will tell you, I think it tastes sweeter every day. So, like when you make rum punch, you make a batch. And for some reason, I don't know if there's fermenting going, I don't know what's going on in it, but it gets sweeter and sweeter and sweeter. So, pro tip, I like to make it just a little under sweet when I make it and then put it in the fridge and then have my first glass of it the next day. And then it's perfectly sweet for me with a little Angostura bitters and some grated nutmeg on top. Yum. The other thing is, I will share the recipe again, but remember, it is 50% rum. It is strong. So now's a good time to make it if you're going to make it because you ain't driving anywhere. So you might as well stay home and enjoy it. So, okay, everybody here still, oh, I hate that I can't see how many people are here. This makes me crazy. So we got to figure that out. Okay, so some good news. Speaking of good news, have you guys seen John Krasinski, who played Jim in The Office, who's just adorable? And he has started a YouTube channel called The Good News Network. And all he shares is good news. He's just got one episode up so far. It's like 15 minutes long. I've actually linked to it over at Chookalunks. I will share the link of everything again at the end of this. But man, if you need a boost of the love and the light that's in this world at this time, strongly recommend go. So it's Some Good News with John Krasinski. If you like do a YouTube search on that, you will find it. So there's that, which is awesome. Another thing that has been really kind of getting me all excited was this story, a quarantine love story. I don't know if you guys saw this. Again, I'm going to link to it, but it was a guy who I think, I'm going to guess New York City, but not necessarily. No, it was New York City. He looked out of the window of his high-rise apartment and saw a woman dancing by herself on the roof of her building. And so he sent her his phone number via drone. She responded, she texted and said, "Hey, it's the girl who was dancing on the thing." And he's been recording it. So then they had a date, but of course it's coronavirus. So the date consisted of her sitting and having dinner on the roof of her building and him sitting on his balcony having dinner. And they had a date, I guess. And then he finally decided he wanted to meet her. So he decided he was going to go over and see her. And the way he did it was he got one of those big inflatable, like hamster balls, like those inflatable clear balls, and kind of like rolled over to her. And they went for a walk, and the cops stopped them and took selfies. It was very, very sweet, but it was a way that they could save. So love continues despite coronavirus, which is really, really wonderful. Link to that story will be later. Okay, anybody else still on? Does somebody want to leave me a message or something? Hang on, let me look. Oh, there's lots of messages. Oh my goodness. Hi, Amy. Good to see you. Hi, Han. Good news. Oh, Joseph says, good news. I got my string lights to decorate outside and make light. Bad news. My neighbor with whom I share the patio has a cat that is flea infested. So, oh, yeah. Ugh. Okay, sorry about that, Joseph, but get the lights up anyway. Esther McDonald, hello, darling. How are you? Okay, great. So you guys are seeing this, which is good. Okay. Betsy Walling-Furler asked me if I would tackle, speak of the devil, she's right there. Hi, Betsy. Welcome. It's good to see you. She asked me if I would tackle how to get remotivated with her work. She says that the disruption in everything with all of a sudden having to work from home, and I'm assuming probably family members. Hey, Laura. Family members in the house, that it's been really disruptive and she's having a hard time getting remotivated for business. So thank you for that question, Betsy. I'm actually going to think about it a little bit more and see if I can answer more fully, but it kind of played to what I wanted to talk to you guys about today, because there is one thing that I do as far as self-care, as far as getting motivated, all of that stuff. And so and that's journaling. And I'd like to talk to you a little bit about it and share some of the pages of my journal as well. Hey, Sophia, how you doing? And kind of share why it's important to me. So please, if journaling does not sound exciting to you, please hang on just for a second and let me try to convince you otherwise. Okay, so I am a pretty avid journaler of one kind or another, and have for about, reaching for the tequila, can you see? Have been a journaler for about oh gosh, I don't know, 7 or 8 years now, probably at least. Hi, Missy Kretcher from Kansas. Hi. But I did not grow up journaling, and I am not one of those people that had a Dear Diary. My journals are not Dear Diary like. I 100% use my journals as a tool. So this is the one that I'm going to share with you today. But like, so that when I hear people talk about they don't want to keep a journal, like the biggest resistance that I hear about them is, what if somebody finds it and reads it? Which is a valid concern, unless you do journals like I do journals, which is 100% as a tool. And it's a tool for creativity. It's a tool for self-care for sure, but it's also a tool for productivity for me. It's a tool to help me brainstorm. So I literally use it as a tool. I always have a journal on me, no matter what. This is actually my current journal that I'm working on. I've kind of switched colors. I used to only use black. Now I've got this lovely blue one that I use. That's one of the journals I use. But yeah, so I had a journal, and I usually go through one of these journals in about once every 2 months. And I had a stack of them. And I lost, during Hurricane Harvey, I lost all of my journals except for the one that I was currently working on, which actually is this one. And I didn't feel bad about it, right? So to me, like, if you're journaling in a way that if you lose them, you're like, then you are journaling in a different way than I journal. I literally journal in them as sort of a tool and a way to kind of exercise the demons and that kind of thing. So I'm going to talk to you about the different ways I've used them. And also, sometimes I'm a really avid journaler. There are times when I'm not. I would say right now I am an avid journaler, but not in the way that I have journaled in the past, in a whole new way. Which has been helpful. But I'm going to talk about all the different ways that I journal, and hopefully that one of these ways might resonate with you. But the reason that I journal mostly is to exercise any demons that I have going on in my head, also to brainstorm, and also to clear my head, because I like to just get it out of my head so that I'm not obsessing and spiraling. A lot of times if I just write stuff down, it works. So let's talk about the different ways. So I've got pages marked in this for what I wanted to show you. So the first way I want to talk about is the way that's talked about in a book called The Artist's Way, and it's by Julia Cameron. And it's a book, that book is about how to spark creativity. And I guess, therefore, that's a motivation in a lot of ways. And one of the first things she talks about is doing morning pages. And what she says is you should get up every morning and write, she says 3 pages. I did 2 pages, but 3 pages, stream of consciousness, nonstop, whatever comes to your head, put it on things, just dump. You don't worry about spelling. You don't worry about grammar. You don't worry about anything like that, sounding poetic. There's no, like trying to sound erudite or anything like that, right? Like, you're just writing. And if you find like you're writing and you get stuck and you can't think of anything else to say, but you haven't finished your 3 pages in her case, 2 pages in mine, then you write, I can't think of anything else to say. I still can't think of anything to say. Wow, nothing's coming to my head. But fill up the pages, okay? Usually something will come to your head, but I just do anything. So this is, I'm not gonna let you read it, but this is like one of my morning pages is. I like the journal. First of all, I like journals that are bound, that aren't like spiral, but like, this kind of binding, because I like to not have the permission to rip pages out. So that's why I like it. And then I also like either blank or dotted pages, because as you'll see, I do a lot of stuff in my journals and I'd like the freedom of having a lot of movement. But so you can see, I'm not gonna have you read it because I have no idea actually what this says, if there's anything It doesn't look like, actually, you know what this looks like? This one actually looks like a blog post that I wrote. So this was me handwriting a blog post. And then it ended up being a blog post now that I look at it. So there's nothing in there that's too fragile, but I just write. Okay. So I do that, pretty much, or I did do that pretty much every morning. I have fallen out of that. But if you are finding that you are in this time of coronavirus and you're starting to freak out a little bit, um, that's a really lovely way to kind of clear your head. Just get everything that you're thinking about just out. And like I said, you're throwing up on the page. You're not trying to be eloquent or anything else. You're just throwing up on the page. You might find that just doing that helps you kind of clear your head and focus on the day. Does that make sense? Yeah. I hope so. I hate that I can't see the hearts or anything on this. This is horrible. I'm going back to the old Facebook Live soon. So that's one way that I do it. Okay. All right. Let's see what the next way that I do it. Oh, the next thing I do in my journal is I doodle a lot. So this was me just making simple flowers. I don't know what I said there. I'm calling this my journal, my daily journal. So I guess I just didn't want to write one day. And I use like just watercolors and how do I do this? There we go. And I just made a bunch of stuff. Right. And sometimes it's just, it's sort of meditative, if you can imagine. Hi, Tina from Raleigh. Hi, Emily Meadows. So this is the kind of thing I would do, like maybe movie night with my family. I have this and I just make doodles on them. Literally like meditation. I think of it almost like as those Zen gardens or those raking things, like that's kind of what I do for that. Right. So that's that. The other thing that I do in my journal, is, first of all, I keep my journal on me all the time. So if I take notes for anything, if I'm on the phone, I do it in my journal. If somebody calls and leaves a message for somebody or whatever, I will take notes in it. I jot, like, there's nothing precious about my journal is what I'm saying, right? Ariana calls it doodle painting. Yeah, I definitely, exactly. Doodle painting, whatever, just making marks. And I'll show you some more of what that looks like. I also use it if I have a piece of paper or something that I want to save. Sometimes I just glue it right in my journal. So like this one, I think you can see it. Ooh, that ring light's really, can you see it there? It's a Super Bowl ticket. The Super Bowl was here in Houston. I think it was 2016. I'm looking right now. Can you tell that I don't have my glasses on, so I can't see? 2017, February 2017. The Super Bowl was here in Houston, and my sweet friend Catherine Connor was in town, and she had a ticket. And I just wanted to save the ticket, so I just glued it right in here, right? Because that seems kind of cool that I went there. So I love that. Somebody just asked, do I doodle with pencil and then watercolor, or markers and colored pencils? So like these kind of doodles, actually most of the ones that you'll see, I tend to sketch it out in pencil first, and then I color it in watercolor, and then I outline it in marker or pen. So that's what I do. So there you go. So what else here? Oh, so then one time I was going through a time that I didn't really want to write. So what I started doing was kind of a combination, and I would reduce my day to one word. And this was, I would do in the evening. So, and it would be one word that represented the day. So obviously, in this one, I was probably doing a lot of brainstorming. So ideate. This one, obviously I had a root canal. Achy and solitude. I don't know what I was achy. It's 2 days after the root canal. So I might have had maybe I worked out or something. But sometimes I just do one word, just to get it out of my, look at this one. This one I had routine. I guess I was bored that day. Rain, right? So just to kind of give you an idea. So sometimes you can just do one word, but again, it's just to kind of just get the cobwebs out. And then I was feeling particularly things. So the other thing that I do is, look at this. I don't know if you can see that. This is collage. Because, by the way, I've never considered myself not artistic, because I'm artistic, but like a drawing art person, although that's changing, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But this is something that you can do if you don't consider yourself, because this is all I did was take old papers and stuff, like even I don't know where they all came from. Some of them I probably bought some old papers, but some of them are like magazines, and I just glued them into my thing and then like started doodling on top of the papers. Here's another one. This one I actually did my morning pages over them, right? I haven't done pages like this in a long time, so this is a while. I also use like a wrapping paper and just kind of cover stuff in. What else we have here? Here's another really pretty one. Like I said, I haven't done these in a while. Here's another one. So anyway, so that's what I kind of, there's another one with just papers in there. So does that make sense, guys? So you can see it. Oh, that obviously was Mother's Day, for a Mother's Day card. So yeah, so I just kind of, but you know, like they're not all pretty. Like, look at this. I don't know what I was drawing or taking notes on there, but it's just messy pages. So that gives you an idea. Okay, so that's some ways that you can use your drawings like that. Let me see what questions we have before I go into the next one. I was reintroduced to morning pages in your Create 2020 and have pretty much kept it up. Thanks, says Missy Kretcher. I'm so glad to hear that. I find it just very clearing. Like I said, I haven't done them recently, but that's been that's on me. I you know, the main thing is to cut yourself some slack. And also I never want to appear to say that you need to do this. I'm just going to share with you that I was very anti-journaling before I started, and I found it very clearing and helpful. And I find it really clearing and helpful, especially when I'm feeling a bit stressed. So I just want to share it as a possibility that might work for you. And maybe it'll work for you to do collage in it or doodle in it, or doodle draw, as I saw doodle painting. Ariana says doodle painting, or collage or something like that. Like it's really very, very easy. Tanya says I look chic. Inspired to brush hair. Thank you. This is bad hair, dear hair, honey. Thank you very much. This is braided up because it's a pain. I may need to use the one word process for a while, says Lee. Yeah, you know, that might be all you need, right? Like just to kind of clear it, acknowledge it, and move on. Okay. So most recently, see, this one is little. This is a little journal. So most of my journals are generally that size. This is a little journal. This is a journal. Yeah, you know, this thing's not mirrored, but this is a journal that Marcus gave me for Christmas. It's just a little, let me find a blank page in it. So it's just a blank page journal that he put in my Christmas stocking. And I decided that I was going to do a sketch a day in it. Now, like I said, I am not a journaler. Like, I mean, a sketcher. I'm not a drawer. And to prove it, like this is the first sketch I did of an apple, which is not all that great, but I'm going to show you what happened. So I've been doing a sketch a day. We were in a hotel, and when I started, and this is a flag that was outside, the flag of Texas that was outside the hotel room. This is a very bad sparkler that I drew. And that's actually this mug. How funny, right? That's actually this mug, me trying to draw that mug. So literally I started doing a drawing a day, and I would mostly do like stuff around the house. That's this is a bottle of wine because I didn't know what to draw. And Marcus said, here, draw this, and put a bottle of wine in front of me. That's my bedside table. And I just look, an Altoids box, my window. And so they were really stupid. And then I started writing like some words next to everything. Oh, a Lego and a cup of tea with a shortbread cookie. And then they started getting a little bit better. So this is, I can't show you because I can't reach it, a handbag. Oh no, well that's a handbag. And they started to get a little bit better. This is a pear. It's not a very good pear, but it's a pear. And I literally started just doing them every single day. Look, my mug got a little bit better. That kind of looks like this mug now. And I sometimes go back and redraw stuff. And what's really been interesting is, oh, here's some lemons. What's been interesting, some tropical flowers, is that I've been able to kind of capture what I'm feeling. And then coronavirus hit. And so then I really started, so that's this one. And then I started a new one, and they're getting better. Oh, there was one I wanted to show you here because it's funny. Hang on. So there's a great restaurant in town called Campesino, and they serve their coffees in this mugs. And so that was the first time I drew the mug, and then that was the next time I drew the mug. So what was interesting is like it. I feel like they're getting better, right? And this is the third time I drew a mug from the same place, and that's a poof that we have in our house. And like I said, they're starting to get better. I drew a rubber duck the other day. So yeah, and what I've been doing since the coronavirus hit is I've actually been recording the coronavirus statistics up at the top. So this was March 28th, and there were 664,000 worldwide cases at that point. Oh, there's the apple, my latest apple. If you remember, my first drawing was an apple. So, and keep in mind, I was doing my best in either. So that was the first apple. That's the next apple. So I'm getting better. But it's been a really nice little sort of meditative thing to do at the end of every day. So that's my drawing things. Usually I haven't they're totally getting better. Ariana says, way to go. Thank you. I'm very proud of how they're getting better. So we'll see what happens by the end of the year, how I'm doing. I'm going to actually have a cup of tea now. So Laura is impressed with my drawing. Thank you, Laura. That's, I don't know if it's impressive, but it shows what practice will do, right? Like it shows what, if you keep with something, that you can get better and better and better, which is kind of awesome. And I think also for me, it's been really helpful to see the improvement because it kind of gives me hope, like that things do get better, whether or not it's my drawing or hopefully the planet. So that's really helpful. So I want to share it with that. So, and literally like my sketches can take anything from, I don't know, 20 minutes to sometimes I'll really work on it and it'll take me 90 minutes or, somewhere in there, an hour to 90 minutes. So whatever works. All right. And so every time I talk about journaling also, usually people say, do you bullet journal? They ask me bullet journaling, which is this system of journaling, of like hand journaling that I don't remember who came up with. I don't. I mean, my journal, in addition to that sketch one, I have a journal. Like I said, this is the one that I keep up with, and I have my to-dos and everything in that. And that's as bullet journally as I get. But I love the concept of bullet journaling because it is a nice way to kind of keep your head organized. And again, it's a way to motivate. So to Betsy's question, like maybe bullet journaling might be work for you. I don't do it, but get this, my daughter, her school in 7th grade taught the 7th graders how, I'm lying, 8th graders. They taught the 8th graders how to bullet journal. And so my daughter's actually a really big bullet journaler. So I asked her if she would let me share her journal. So this is hers. With you guys, so you can kind of see what she does. Now, Alex is the sort of artist in our family. Well, both Alex and Marcus are really good, but you can see she does really pretty. Hello, October, right? She does these really great journal pages. So she does like week at a glance and what her week looks like. Her word of the week. I didn't realize she did a word of the week. Champions was the word of the, relax was one word of the week then, and champions was another, persistence was another. So that's what one of her like homework page things look like. This is really pretty. So at the beginning of a month, she does so that's her November of last year. But yeah, she gets all of her like weeks and everything. How did the news of farming travel around it? Oh, so she must have been taking notes there. Vocabulary words. Hang on. Oh, this is her December layout. Isn't that pretty? But she's really quite talented, and it's so funny because I'm actually looking at this with you for the first time. I've only seen them sort of as I pass by her over the shoulder. More. Oh, she said that this was Mardi Gras, so she used Mardi Gras colors for that week. I remember she did say that. Oh, this is online, so this would have been coronavirus time. So her online classes and everything else. So this is the most recent stuff that she's doing. April. This is April just started. So yeah, so she does them. You can see like she does her her agenda, her what she has to do in it, and she checks off. Where are we? Checks off the things that she's done. Um, and so it's a really lovely thing. One reason. Oh, she doodles. One thing that I would say is, if you journal, if you decide to journal, do it by hand. I think there's magic in doing your journals by hand. I don't know about you, but I can type and think about other things, like literally. I type really fast and I can kind of go, but journaling requires you to slow down, and that's the magic of it. And that's the motivation of it. So to Betsy's questions, how can I get remotivated? I would recommend starting a journal practice of some kind. The morning page is particularly effective, I think, with remotivating yourself about what you're struggling with and stuff. Oftentimes, if I'm struggling with a problem, I'll just start writing and the problem sort of just comes to me because it's a way of almost stepping out of myself and giving myself advice. Because you know how sometimes you can give advice to other people, but you can't give it to yourself. Well, journaling allows you to slow down and do that. So that's what I say for that. So let me see. Any questions about anything? I'm going to look. I think it's good to do it as a process. I lately feel I only have so much time to focus on what I should get into with my serious writing and not spend time in the journal writing, but I'm rethinking that now. Ariana, I'm glad to see that. And it doesn't have to be a long processed thing. And it definitely shouldn't be a very edited thing, in my opinion. It's not something that it's always, even if I think earlier I said I'd written a blog post, like that would have definitely been the first draft and I just write it and then I would edit it when I put it on blog. So I put everything in mine. Let's see. So agree, Karen. Handwriting and drawing are cathartic. They really, really are. They really, really are. So I would share that. Okay, thank you for all of your questions. So that's the journaling thing. The last thing that I was going to talk about before I go, so start thinking of any questions you might have. The last thing I wanted to share with you was an article that was in Forbes magazine that made me feel better. So I wanted to share that with you. You may have seen it already, but it was helpful. And it was by a guy named, it was in Forbes, and the title of it is How a 15,000-Year-Old Human Bone Can Help You Through the Corona Crisis. And it's written by a leadership coach, it looks like, named Remy Blumenfeld. And I thought I would just read it to you, and I'm going to need my glasses, sorry, to read this to you. But he talks about, well, I'll just read it to you, this first part, and then I'll read the second one. Okay. It says, years ago, the anthropologist Margaret Mead was asked by a student what she considered to be the first sign of civilization in a culture. The student expected Mead to talk about clay pots, tools for hunting, grinding stones, or religious artifacts, but no. Mead said that the first evidence of civilization was a 15,000 years old fractured femur found at an archaeological site. The femur is the longest bone in the body, linking your hip to your knee. And in societies without the benefits of modern medicine, it takes about 6 weeks of rest for a fractured femur to heal. This particular bone had been broken and had healed. Mead explained that in the animal kingdom, if you break your leg, you die. You cannot run from danger, you cannot drink or hunt for food. Wounded in this way, you are meat for your predators. No creature survives a broken leg long enough for a bone to heal. You're eaten first. So this broken femur that had healed is evidence that another person had taken the time to stay with the fallen, had bound up the wound, had carried the person to safety, and had tended them through recovery. A healed femur indicates that someone has helped a fellow human rather than abandoning them to save their own life. Helping someone else through difficulty is where civilization starts, Margaret Mead said. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can't change the world, for indeed, it is all who ever have. So I loved that. I loved that sort of reminder that we are all interconnected. And it's sort of a part of the reason that I like doing these Friday light hours, because I want us to continue to feel connected, because this is, being physically distant should not make us feel isolated. And it's a danger of it, right? So I wanted to make sure that we did that. So I'm going to share that. I shared that with you, but I'm also on this. It has this wonderful meditation. I'm trying to decide whether I want to read it to you here or not. Should I read it? I'll let you do it because I don't know we can do it effectively here, but it's a lovely meditation. It says, even if you can't leave the house to share your love in practical ways, I encourage you to try out this visualization, which the very loving Renee Nash, founder of KR Alliance Coaching, first shared with me. I have no evidence that it helped anyone other than me, but it only takes a few minutes a day, and you too might find it comforting and empowering. And he shares sort of a way to close your eyes and lie down and slow your breath, and sort of a visualization thing that helps you bathe yourself in love and light, and also helps you send it to the rest of the world. So that I will definitely link to, so that you can enjoy that. Sound good? Okay, let's see if there are any other things. Jeff Harry says, what do I, hi Jeff. What do you do on the days when you're not motivated to write your morning pages? So I have not been motivated to write my morning pages lately, but I've been doing my sketching thing at night. And honestly, some days I write a lot on the sketches. Some days there's a lot of writing on them, and sometimes they're not. But yeah, I cut myself some slack. Like, if I'm feeling really tense, I will often do the morning pages. Like I'll make the time to do it, because it just empties that tension for me. But like overall lately, I've just not really been into it. But I've been doing the sketches instead. So, I feel like that's cool. For me, also another thing that's really big self-care, obviously, is photography. I will go out and shoot sometimes if I don't want to write, but yeah, mostly I find another way. Or the doodles are also the doodle pages that I showed you. Let me see if I can find those again because I took all the paper out. But like the doodles where I just doodled a bunch of doodles all over the place, like that one. Like I find that really sometimes therapeutic, just to kind of doodle and doodle and doodle and doodle and doodle and doodle. There's something called Zentangles. I'll do that, like where it's not even like flowers, it's just lines, repetitive lines, boxes. I like color, so I tend to like watercolor in any doodle that I do, but you don't have to. Yeah, so that's it. Lee asks, do you sometimes just pick a subject and journal about that? Like spend an entire journal entry on fear? No, I don't. I don't really. I find that if I have a subject that I want to write about, that ends up being a blog post, weirdly. So I might do that. I might. Oh, Tina says Zentangles. Yeah, love Zentangles. So they're good. Yeah, I might do that. So sometimes, like if I have it, like that blog post I told you, I'm sure that was something that was in my head, and I decided to actually write it, knowing at the time that it was going to turn into a blog post. Usually, if I am tense, sometimes I will do the like those single. Like maybe the single word thing, like maybe a single word page, and then doodle around that. So let's see, like Serenity. So sometimes I'll do that. Is like just a word and then just doodle around it. You can see obviously flowers are big for me. Ruminate, and then sometimes let me see if I can find one. Brainstorm. Sometimes I'm really big on quotes. Sometimes I find a quote, so maybe a quote might. I don't think I have any in this one. Might really resonate with me, and I'll just doodle a quote. I don't see one in here right now. Yeah, you know what? It's funny. This sort of smells like Harvey. Which is kind of gross, but because Harvey did not smell good. Yeah, I can't find one, but sometimes I'll find a quote that sort of sums up how I'm feeling. And oh, here's one. So this one, there we go, the celebration page. It says, I don't know what I was celebrating. I know, it's March 3rd. So that was Alex's birthday. So we must have celebrated her birthday on that day, March 3rd, 2017. It says, cakes are special. Every birthday, every celebration ends with something sweet. A cake, and people remember it's all about the memories, said Buddy Valastro, a chef. So sometimes I might find a quote that has to do with whatever I'm thinking about and then doodle that. So I don't know if that answers your question, but kind of that. Oh, lots of questions coming in now. Danny, you know what? I'm so blind. Let's see here. Danny Gregory teaches a sketch a day. It's called Sketchbook School on YouTube. I picked up sketching again after years of art in my Mac only. So relaxing and fun, says Karen. Danny Gregory is a doll. I don't know him personally. This is like me seeing he has a great blog. I didn't know he had a daily sketch school. That's awesome. I bought his book and I tried to learn to sketch from him, and it didn't work for me. Like, he has a method of doing the outline and then filling it in. He's like, you just do an outline of whatever you're seeing and then fill it in. I found that my outline didn't look like the outline when I started, so it didn't work for me. But he's so inspiring, and he is very good at making the idea of creating art and drawing accessible. Like, anybody can do it. He's really good about that. So thank you for reminding me of him, Karen. I will link him as well. Danny Gregory is fantastic. What do you find to take pictures of when you go out on your walk? My neighborhood is mucho boring. So is mine, honestly. Admittedly, my neighborhood's not that fancy, but so that to me is the challenge, is like to see the things that I see and see if I can shoot them in a pretty way. And I mean, for me, flowers and plants are always kind of my throwdown thing. Like, I find them. There's a lot of weeds and stuff that actually are really quite pretty if you look at them and shoot them in a certain way. So that's kind of fun. Another exercise that I've done before with photography, though, is like walk 100 paces in any direction and then shoot 10 shots and figure out, or 20 shots, like something that's a lot and you don't move. So you look around and, like, within 3 feet of wherever you're standing, find something to shoot. And so sometimes those kind of exercises are really fun to do. I find having to write can be so overwhelming, so I can do quick lists. I just get everything out. It helps me when I'm feeling test. That's from Michelle. What a great idea. Yeah. So doing lists instead of actually writing things out, for sure, I've done that before. That's a really, really great point. So rather than, I like the idea of the morning pages, because I like the idea that you have to write for a certain number of pages when I'm in a morning page state of mind. But if you're not, I think like a gratitude list, obviously, right? Like 3 great things that happened to me today, or 3 little things that made me smile today, or 3 things I want to remember about today, or whatever. Something like that is also really, really good. So yeah, I love lists for sure. I know it's not recommended to reread morning pages, but I do, and often find that spirit was speaking through me and I'm encouraged. Do you ever reread your pages? Says Pranay. Hey, Pranay. Never. Isn't that funny? Never. And it's not because I don't want to read them. I think of them as such just a mind dump that I assume that they're probably going to be almost unintelligible. I never read them. And I think that's why when I lost all my journals, I wasn't that horrified by it, because I never, ever read. I rarely read anything. As a matter of fact, the only time I've ever gone back in my journals is either to do something like I'm doing today, or like to see if my sketches are improving. But the writing stuff, never. Unless I'm like taking notes in a meeting and I have to go back and refer to the meeting. Never. Isn't that funny? Never, ever, ever. But yeah, I definitely feel like when I write, sometimes it feels like it's not me writing, for what that's worth. Sometimes I feel like it's a higher wisdom that's kind of helping me write. That for sure has happened. Okay. Any other questions? Let's see if I missed any. We say goodnight. Totally. I think it's good to do it as a process. Yeah, rethinking. I think I got this. I love that. Doodle with pencil and color. Oh, also, yes. So the sketches, I'm doing the same thing, actually. I sketch everything with a pencil, and then I color it in, and then I like outline it with pen. So this one actually, these are some limes. This one is actually a sketch of a photograph that I took a long time. I couldn't think of anything to draw, and I couldn't find anything around the house that I wanted to draw. So sometimes I just go into my photographs and just sketch what I see there. The other thing is I have a thing for plumeria, or what we call frangipani. And so I keep doodling. As you can tell, those are really big for me. Tomato plant. Oh, caterpillar. So anyway, so that's that. All right. Anything else in here? Let me make sure I haven't missed anybody. Okay, I think that's it. My friends. So self-care, self-care, self-care. Hang in there. Lots and lots of tea, of good tea to or water, hydrate. Have the occasional Paloma or rum punch. Keep making light. I hope you find this helpful. Be sure to kind of share it with your friends if you think that I've said anything that might be helpful for them. Feel free to do that. I will link to everything. I'm going to embed this on trickllinks.com, and also all the things we've talked about, like, and even things like Zentangle and everything else. I will link to all of those there and update this with that link. Take care of yourselves. If there's anything you would like me to talk about in future ones, please, email me or leave on a comment on Facebook, or you can email me at Karen@trickllinks.com, and I'll add it to my list. So I hope you're doing well. Happy Friday, says Kim's. Thank you, darling. Tina, everybody. Mwah. I love you guys. Keep making light. Okay. Take good care. Bye.